拒绝当舔狗。今年的七夕啊，是有史以来最冷清。
This year's Chinese Valentine's Day Qixi Festival may be the quietest in history. After scrolling through social media for ages, not a single post showing gifts. In the malls, there are more salespeople at jewelry and flower counters than customers. It's not that young people don't understand romance anymore, but that everyone has finally woken up. They no longer want to be the targets of capitalist exploitation. There used to be a common belief in the consumer market that women's money was now the easiest to earn, but really, consumer values have completely shifted. Ordinary people's lives are harder than ever, leaving little room for romance. The obsession with giving flowers on holidays has long faded. Men are spending less and less on romance. Now men are waking up and asking, why should romance always require men to kneel and cater to women?
今年的七夕好惨淡呀，消费降级了，舔狗。
This year's Qixi Festival feels so dismal. Consumer spending has downgraded. No one's sending flowers or buying gifts. I haven't seen a single post about love in my social media feed. What's going on this year? It's strange. No one's giving gifts on Qixi. The doormat economy, which refers to businesses profiting from people spending money to impress someone they like, has completely collapsed. Or maybe it's that men have woken up. The deeper reason is that the Qixi Festival, once a time for harvesting couples, has now seen no one in love anymore.
Qixi, known as China's Valentine's Day, is an annual romantic holiday. In 2025, Qixi falls on August 29th, but this year, the market is unusually quiet. At Beijing Sanlitun, rose bouquets are piled next to trash bins. The once crowded trendy restaurants now have a vacancy rate of 70%. In a live stream from the DR Diamond Jewelry brand, a female host shouted hoarsely, "If you love her, give her an eternal diamond ring." But the comments were full of sharp critiques. Maybe we should just cancel the Qixi Festival.
往年的七夕，商家铺天盖地的宣传。
In previous years, businesses flooded the market with promotions, and flower shops started preparing 2 days in advance. But why is this year's Qixi as quiet as a ghost festival?
七夕，想问你们是怎么过的？
I wanted to ask how you all celebrate the Qixi Festival this year. This afternoon, I was joking with my colleagues. I said, I've been scrolling through Douyin and WeChat for a while now. This year, there's no one posting about their love, no one showing off transfers, gifts, or flowers to stir me up. Honestly, I really want to ask the guys here, is it because the economy is tough and you don't have money? Or is it that you are all long married couples now and don't need any gestures of romance anymore? Is that the reason? Then another female colleague of mine joked, should we transfer money to each other? Haha, I said, no need for that.
The flower market is facing a tough situation as well. Mr. Lin, the owner of a flower shop in Wuhan, told the media that sales have definitely dropped by as much as 90%. It might be because people have woken up and no longer want to be in relationships. As for prices, this year's prices aren't much different from previous years. Flower shop owners from across China are sharing videos complaining about the significant drop in sales this Qixi Festival.
姐妹们，你们爆单了没有？
Sisters, have you had any big sales? What's going on? I've only had one order since this morning. I got one order at 1 a.m. yesterday and another around 9 a.m. today. There are only 2 orders on Meituan online. What's happening? I was worried I wouldn't have enough flowers, so I raised the prices quite a bit because I saw others have done the same. I was worried I would get flooded with orders and run out of stock, but in the end, sales were slow. I don't know what's going on.
Consumer spending has definitely downgraded. This year, the flower shops prepare so many flowers for Qixi, but they're all still there, unsold. The store owners had prepared so much, but as expected, consumption has really downgraded.
临近七夕，我来带你们来我们本地市场看一看。
With Qixi approaching, I decided to check out our local market. This is our local market. In previous years, every shop will be packed with goods at this time. This year, it feels like everyone's just waiting and watching. Our market finally has roses left. Since I was already there, I couldn't resist buying a few myself. But the market is especially quiet this year, not as lively as before.
七夕情人节都没人送花了吗？你不送花？
Has no one been sending flowers this Qixi festival? If you don't buy flowers, how are we delivery guys supposed to make money? Yesterday might have been the quietest Qixi Festival ever. How quiet was it? During the lunch rush, I thought I'd get a lot of flower orders, but after checking all the platforms, there were hardly any. Only a few came through, but the delivery fees were so low that I didn't even want to accept the orders. At first, I thought the flower orders were just slow and would come in during the evening rush, but during the evening, it was the same. No flower orders at all. It was really strange. To welcome Qixi, the Ella.me platform even had a flower and cake promotion, but the guys just weren't buying. No flowers, no gifts. On Ella.me, I didn't get a single flower order. On JD's delivery, I did manage to deliver one flower order and earn 6.9 RMB. Why don't you guys like giving flowers to girls anymore? They should. If they have a wife, they could give flowers to their wife. If they have a lover, to their lover. If they have a girlfriend, to their girlfriend. But now, they don't even buy flowers or spend money on them. As a result, delivery riders like me are also suffering. We can't get a single flower order. What should we do? Roses by the roadside are now priced at just 3 RMB, but no one's buying them. The high price strategy of flower shops has completely failed. Netizens are all saying, this Qixi Festival, no one's posting about transfers or gifts.
Yesterday was probably the coldest Qixi Festival in history. I don't know about you, but for me, my social media feed was quiet. Usually there are posts about flowers and gifts, but this year, nothing. The florist told me they only sold half of their stock. In previous years, it would have been sold out by now. What's going on? The truth is, we all know. Nowadays, guys get scared when they hear about relationships. Why? Because they're afraid of meeting a girl who treats them like an ATM. They are afraid of putting their heart into it, only to end up being taken advantage of. How sad is that? Dating has become like a business. First, calculate the costs, then the returns. Love has turned into a transaction, and sincerity has become a luxury. More and more people are waking up to this. When everyone's calculating their gains and losses, love becomes a walled city that no one dares enter. People outside are afraid of losing money, and people inside are afraid of going bankrupt. It's truly laughable.
今年这个七夕啊，确实看出来经济下行了。
This Qixi Festival really shows how the economy is declining. It's already 3 p.m. and there haven't been any large transfers on my social feed. In previous years, people were showing off, buying bags, posting pictures of hundreds of roses. Everyone would be posting on social media, but this year it's all quiet.
感觉婚恋市场越来越严峻了。
The marriage and dating market seems to be facing more challenges. Wasn't yesterday the Qixi Festival? I thought there would be a lot of posts on my social media about transfers and gifts. I was planning to check out how everyone was spending Qixi later in the evening, but when I looked, I found that no one was posting about love. It was so strange. I didn't expect my feed to be this quiet this year. I've never felt it so clearly before, but this year feels different from previous years.
This Qixi Festival really caught businesses off guard. The streets were quiet, barely any people in sight. The malls had promotions everywhere, discounts, sales. Flower shops dropped their prices to 20 RMB per rose, and restaurants offered 50% off couples meals, yet still no one came. One mall offered free movie tickets for their events, but the theater was so empty you could play badminton there. The staff said this situation had been going on for years, but this year was the worst. In a flower market in Hanzhou City, Zhejiang Province, the shop owner smiled bitterly while pointing at a room full of unsold roses. Last year, at this time, we would have sold out. We prepared only 70% of last year's stock, and now half of it's still here. As night fell, at a high-end restaurant in a major city, half the reserved couple seats remained empty. The manager smiled wryly at the staff and said, "Just give out those roses to the staff for them to take home after work. They'll be wilted by tomorrow." Once upon a time, a bouquet of roses would go for over 1,000 RMB, and restaurant reservations for the Qixi Festival were booked a month in advance. Now, they're facing such an awkward situation. Is it that young people no longer believe in love, or has romance been killed by reality? According to a certain restaurant platform, the search volume for Qixi restaurant has skyrocketed 240% week over week, and the number of early reservations for the day increased by 52% compared to last year. But behind these seemingly prosperous numbers, business owners are left with bitter smiles. The cancellation rate is as high as 30%, and the actual attendance is even worse. A Chinese media report states that in 2025, nationwide flower sales dropped by 80% on Qixi Festival, and the occupancy rate of high-end restaurants was less than 30%, making it the most disappointing Qixi Festival since the pandemic. Even movie theaters couldn't recover the situation with romance films. The most liked comment on short video platforms was, "Skipping Qixi is not a big deal. Buying roses is less worthwhile than groceries." Mr. Chen, a 28-year-old bank employee from Shanghai, said, "Last year, I spent half a month's salary on a gift and dinner for my girlfriend, but she didn't seem that happy. This year, we agreed to cook at home, buy a small gift, and save the money for a trip." Chen added, "Why does love only need to be proved at the Qixi Festival? Isn't everyday care more important than a one-day show?" In Chengdu, a newlywed couple chose to celebrate the Qixi Festival by eating skewers. They laughed and said, "Instead of buying a bouquet of roses that'll wither in 3 days, it's better to save the money for a down payment." A 2025 survey from a marriage platform showed that 62% of young people believe that love is not a necessity in life, nearly double the number from 5 years ago. Additionally, 57% of respondents said they are unwilling to pay the premium for holiday expenses. Against the backdrop of an economic downturn, young people's views on love and consumption have undergone a significant shift.
Let me show you a concrete example of how ordinary people are downgrading their consumption. While cleaning up today, I found I used to buy such expensive perfume. This Loewe perfume costs over 800 RMB, and now I just spray a bit of Liu Shen floral water. I have this Jo Malone perfume too, but I barely use it. Then there's the lipstick. In the past, I bought a bunch of Armani and Tom Ford, but now they are all expired. Now I just use this cream for shrinking pores. I've got a bottle of Colourpop, which only costs 20 to 30 RMB. I used to buy YSL cushion foundations, but now I'm using one that costs just over 100 RMB for 3. I even used to use SK2 skincare, but now it's just a big spray bottle that also only costs 100 RMB for 3. I used to always want to buy better products, but now it just feels like whatever works. I'm really indifferent now. This is a brush I bought before, without a few bristles left. I haven't even bought one lately. Recently, I was talking with my friend about the Qixi Festival coming up and wondering if I should buy something for myself. Now when I shop, the first thing I think about is whether it holds its value. I considered buying some gold, but since prices are up, it doesn't feel like a good time. I thought about buying a bag, but even if I use it, it will depreciate. Let's not even talk about bracelets or necklaces. Shopping just doesn't feel the same anymore. There's no pure desire to own something just because I like it. It's not just about downgrading consumption. It feels like there's no desire for material things at all.
The Qixi Festival of 2025 ended on a bleak note, heavily impacted by both the consumption downgrading and the collapse of the doormat economy. First, young people are facing multiple economic challenges. Layoffs and salary cuts are common. Rents are high while prices soar, especially as some young people are burdened with mortgages and car loans. Earning 10,000 RMB a month is considered a high income in today's society, but it's still not enough to cover the heavy consumption demands during the holidays. In this context, many people are reassessing their shopping habits and focusing more on rational spending. A survey showed that 85% of men have reduced their emotional spending budget and prioritized essential expenses, with emotional consumption pushed to the margins. Secondly, there's a backlash against the financial pressures placed on men. For years, men have borne a greater economic burden during holidays, such as buying gifts and paying for meals. They've been the primary victim of love marketing. To maintain a fragile social image and prove their strength and affection, they spent without consideration of the cost. At a cafe in Tianhe District, Guangzhou City, Mr. Lin, a 26-year-old product manager, is organizing an offline event for Men's Liberation Alliance. This community of 3,000 members advocates for rejecting love defined by consumerism. They've created an anti-Valentine survival guide, teaching men how to gracefully decline gift-giving during holidays. Such awakening is giving rise to a new social mindset. Furthermore, the marriage and dating market is collapsing. In 2024, the national number of marriage registrations dropped to just 6 million pairs, the lowest in 45 years. In the first quarter of 2025, the number of registrations was only 1.8 million, a further 8% decrease year on year. In China, marriage is not only about emotions, but is heavily tied to high economic costs, including housing prices, betrothal gifts, and wedding expenses. In Chongren County, Fuzhou City, a 500,000 RMB betrothal gift equals 30 years of disposable income for the local rural population. These transactional marriages are not isolated cases. In Shangrao City, programmer Zhang Yiguo was forced to break off his engagement due to a 120,000 RMB betrothal gift and an 8,000 RMB relative's red envelope. Even more absurdly, a bank once launched a betrothal gift loan, turning marriage and love into financial products. In short, more and more men are choosing to lie flat or stay single, no longer seeing romance as a necessary part of life. This trend is closely linked to the collapse of the doormat economy and consumption downgrading. Without the backing of men's wallets, certain industries are undergoing profound reshuffling. First is the collapse of the film industry. The doormat economy has long served as a safety net for the film market, since for dating couples, watching movies on dates is a basic need. But in the past 2 years, with the collapse of the doormat economy, the group providing this support has vanished. Box office revenue is declining, and cinemas are shutting down. The film industry is undergoing a major shakeup. This year's Qixi box office was almost the lowest in the past decade, except for the pandemic-impacted 2021. Compared to last year, it decreased by 130 million RMB. A movie theater manager said, "If next year's Qixi is the same, we might replace the couple seats with single sofas." Second is the collapse of the luxury goods market. A sales associate at the LV store in Shanghai admitted, "The long queues from last Qixi Festival are gone. In the past, 70% of men would pay for their partners, but now it's down to just 20%. A diamond is forever. This classic advertisement slogan has not only deeply ingrained itself in people's hearts, but also established diamonds as essential for engagements. However, diamonds have seen a dramatic sales drop. In 2024, industry leader Dairy Ring closed 172 stores. Meanwhile, its flagship products, engagement rings and wedding bands, saw disappointing revenue, with year-on-year declines of more than 30%. Coming next is the winter of the medical cosmetics industry. Over the past decade, China's medical cosmetics sector has rapidly grown, driven by men paying for women. However, in 2025, this trend reversed, with consumer interest fading. The industry found itself in a dilemma of increased revenue but decreased profit. For example, Volga Company's net profit was halved. IMEC Company's quarterly net profit plummeted by 42.8% year on year. The golden age of China's medical aesthetics industry may be gone for good. The last industry facing collapse is matchmaking agencies. In July 2025, data showed that the number of matchmaking agencies nationwide dropped from 12,000 in 2021 to 3,800, with a closure rate exceeding 68%. Data from marriage platforms in 2025 revealed that the number of actively registered men has decreased by 12% annually. A high-end matchmaking agency in Beijing, charging an annual fee of 280,000 RMB, reported 0 orders in 2025. This industry reshuffling is not only the result of the doormat economy retreating, but also reflects the rationalization of consumer culture and increasing economic pressures. With men burdened by mortgages, car loans, and child rearing costs, who would still spend thousands of yuan on a bouquet of roses at Qixi Festival.